Hello there, I'm Sarah Arciniega, and today I will be sharing a 2-page layout as well as what I got in my last Stampin' Up box. So stay tuned if you're into unboxings. So because I do voiceovers, I already know that this page ends up looking nothing like the sketch I'm about to show you. Every third Friday, I join with a bunch of other ladies and we do a collaboration where we all use the same sketch, but our pages of course look totally different. And so I actually went to work on this month's sketch and ended up with a page that looked nothing like the sketch. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and release this video today and do another page. So stay tuned next week because I will have a page that looks a little closer to the sketch. But I did like the fact that I started with a sketch and it looked totally different by the end. And I think that's okay. Like sometimes we want to like follow a sketch perfectly, which is totally fine. But sometimes it's just the starting point. And so for today, it was just a starting point. And as you can see, I went ahead actually and flipped the sketch. And so that's where the inspiration came to do the little border. And so I am pulling inspiration from the sketch, but I'm not following it exactly. And I think that's what sketches are made for. And so this little strip here is 1/4 of an inch. It's from the I Want Candy paper collection that came out last fall. And then I decided to bring in some ballerina cardstock to put there at the bottom. And that's going to be like my little border, like the one from the sketch. But other than that, my pictures are different sizes. I actually orient them differently. But the reason that I wanted to use these pictures so badly is because I just got this ice cream swirl set from Stampin' Up. This stamp set came out in the last mini catalog from Stampin' Up, but it actually is in the new catalog as well in the Encore section. And so it is on page 77 and it is adorable, and I'm so glad I was able to get it because I can see myself using this for a lot of different things. So here I'm showing you the dies. The cone actually cuts out 2 cones at once and they're attached, so you can actually fold it over and use it as like a little card or a little tag or something like that. But you also can just run it through and then snip it in half and you get 2 cones in one pass of your die cut machine. So the dies are really cute and the stamps are adorable. And so I am trying to figure out where I want to put them on my page. I know I want one there at the top left. I figure if I scoot the ones over right there, I can sneak one in possibly, and then I'll put one there on the top right. It basically makes a triangle of ice cream cones. They are rather large, and so I am a little, at this point, a little worried about that just because they are a rather large embellishment, and I have a lot of pictures on this page. But I went ahead and cut them all out. At first, I thought I wanted some really deep contrast, and so I actually pulled in Rosie to work with the ballerina, and I just didn't really like the way it turned out. I also used the stamp set along with the dies, and I actually decided I just liked using the dies or just the stamps. And so I opted to just use the dies here. So what I did is I used the 2-tone cardstock from Close to My Heart. And so on the bottom I have the light color, and then on the top I have the true color. But what it gives me is that twisted ice cream look, right? And so I really like the way that these turned out. And the little diagonal stripe, you know, border is great because it has all the colors in that I'm pulling out to use for the ice cream cones. And so it really ties it in well. So next I have my cones. I used toffee cardstock here, and it's kind of the same thing. I used the stamp with the die and I couldn't get them exactly lined up, and so I am opting actually to go ahead and just flip them over where I haven't stamped. I think you could get away with it. It actually looks pretty good, but they're not exactly like on the same lines like the embossing and the ink. But it still does give quite a bit of texture. But I'm going to go ahead and flip these around and just use the embossed side, and what I'm going to be doing is doing some inking so that they have some dimension. I do not proclaim to be an artist. Like shadows and depth and all that stuff is not something that comes very natural to me, but I like experimenting with it. And so what I'm going to do here is just get some ink around the edges and then blend in over the emboss section too, and it will you know, make that stand out a little more. And I do like the way they turn out. I think they're pretty cute. In addition to the Stampin' Up set, I actually am pulling in the I Want Candy stamp set. They have a really cute sentiment. It says life is sweet, and so I've put that on a little bracket. I do want to put a pink wash behind it though, and so I get my ballerina ink, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to blot off in the center where it's going to be covered and then radiate the color outward until I have enough coverage there. I do apologize, my tripod's right next to my table, and sometimes when I do something like that it bumps it a little, so sorry about the shakiness. And so now that that is done, I'm ready to add something to my ice cream cones. I didn't want just an ice cream cone there, you know, floating by itself. And so I brought my circle dies in, and then this is from the Close to My Heart set. It says give me some sugar. And then this one, and this circle up at the top, I'm going to be pulling in the Stampin' Up set. There's some words there that say yum yum, and so that's a perfect spot for it there in the circle at the top. So I'm just kind of using the dies and the stamps as, you know, is this going to look good, like size-wise and placement-wise? And I do like that, so I will get those cut out in different colors. All right, at this point, I'm also starting to think that the bottom section looks a little bland and that I want to do something with those, you know, while I have my stamps out. So I did pull in toffee ink. I had done the Life is Sweet in black, and I think it works, but I started thinking, you know, my cones are in toffee, maybe it would be cuter if I did things in toffee. But I wasn't sure it's going to be dark enough, and so I tried it here on the glacier paper, and I do like the way it turns out, and so I will redo the Life is Sweet, but that right there says give me some sugar, and then I have my yum yum done there. Like I said, eventually I do switch out the Life is Sweet, but here, while I had my stamps out, I was playing around kind of with what I could do on the pink paper, and this was just to test out. This isn't, you know, I'm not going to put this here. That's the two different things. On the first side, I have the sprinkle stamp from the Stampin' Up set. And then on the other side, I have cherries and the words yum yum. And I actually decided I do like that one better. So I'm going to go ahead and do tone on tone stamping. I'm using ballerina ink on ballerina paper. And I think I start with the yum yum stamp first. A lot of times with words, I don't twist them completely, but these were easy enough to read that I felt like I could twist them a little bit. And they were still, you know, readable. And so I go ahead and stamp yum yum, and then I get my cherry out and do the same thing, going in a triangle of, you know, and making small triangles of the design and flipping it and making sure I go off the page. And while I finish this up, I'm curious, what kind of ice cream is popular where you live? This dairy that I took my nieces to is pretty big in Tennessee. Where I live in the South, Bluebell is definitely a favorite around here. I know that like up in the Pacific West, excuse me, while I'm there, Tillamook is really good. So what is popular where you live? I'm curious. And what flavor do you like? I like too many to list. So the next thing I want is a filler stamp, and one of my favorite filler stamps actually comes from the Sweet Safari set. It has nothing to do with ice cream, but there's just like this little group of dots that just is the perfect filler stamp. So I've finished both borders, and now I'm bringing in some enamel dots, and these are from the Honey Bunny collection, and the pink is actually truly a peach, and the yellow is honey butter instead of lemonade. But I felt like they were a close enough match, and so I'm just putting 3 little of the dots in each, you know, cluster. Up here at the top, I actually decide that I don't like the peach on the pink, and then I put 3 up there, and later on actually add 2 more. So I end up with 5 dots up there by the title, but I just thought there was enough space up there that you know, could support 5 dots. So this was from many years ago. It was actually before I had kids of my own, and I went to visit my sister, and she had 4 little girls, and one of them was, you know, still a baby. And so I actually took the older girls out for a little field trip, and we went to this Mayfield dairy, and it was a super fun day, and gave her a little bit of a break to, you know, just focus on the baby and whatever else she needed to do. I hope you enjoyed watching this page come together, and this is the end of the process video, but I do have my unboxing. So this is what I picked up during the free shipping sale, and so this is called Friendly Fins, and it's a fun set that has all different kinds of ocean animals, and this is fun. I've never actually had a stamp that does the like fill-in, and so I'm excited to try to use those. And then I also got the dies. I am loving the dies from Stampin' Up. They, you know, coordinate with the stamps, but they always have some extra ones that are like just standalone dies. So here's a coral reef that I just think is so cute. The little lobster, some of the fish, they're just all standalone, and I love the mixture. It's fun to mix the stamps with just, you know, the standalone dies. I'm really enjoying that. So I should mention this set in particular is actually on sale during the month of June. The bundles, when you get the dies and the stamps together, they're 10% off, but in June they're an extra 10% off, and so that's a pretty good deal right now. This is the Layers of Beauty. This bundle is also part of the extra 10% off sale. So this is a large bouquet of flowers, and it actually has stencils that you can use with it. So I did actually pick those up as well. There's 5 different stencils, and so you can put that right over your stamp image, and it just gives you all of this dimension, you know, as you use your ink blending, and that's really helpful to me. And so here we have this nice swirl embossing set. And this, I actually saw it done on brown paper, and it totally like looked like kind of like log. I was actually kind of thinking I'd do some like nature stuff with it. And so I am excited to try that out. Here I have Grassy Grove, and this is an older one that's also in the Encore section. But the dies to this are really nice as well. There's this gorgeous, like almost like a canopy of trees, and it's just really pretty. And when I looked at the set, it actually reminds me, we had a family cabin that we would go to sometimes growing up, and it looked out, like the porch looked out onto this meadow, and we would often see, you know, deer out there, and sometimes they came quite close to the cabin as well, but it was always fun to watch them. And so this will be a really fun set to use, and it, like I said, is in the Encore section of the catalog. The next thing I got, I actually ordered the whole suite, and it is called Lily Pond Lane, and it comes with the stamp set, the coordinating dies, a package of 6x6 paper, and then enamel dots. And I just thought it was really cute. It has little ducks and bullfrogs, and the dots, you probably can't see it on the camera, but they're marbled, and so that's just a different look that's quite unique. And then the 6x6 paper, I'm gonna have to kind of play around with it, like to make it work in my 12x12 pages. But I've seen a lot of people do some neat things with it and ways to work around the smaller paper, and so I'm excited and up for the challenge. It's a really cute set. It has all the little, you know, scenes and stuff like that, but then on the reverse side, it has very neutral and like more subtle patterns. And so if you're not into like the busy paper, then on the other side there is like a more muted side that coordinates with the colors. So often when I'm trying to decide what to purchase too, I think about like what I have to scrapbook. And so when I saw this set, it reminded me of walking around this lake that we had in our neighborhood, and we would walk around it with our kids and, you know, watch the little turtles, you know, jump into the water as we walked by, and then the mother duck with her little ducklings was always a fun thing to watch as well. And so, like I said, that's a whole suite that I purchased, but here I am opening up the dies that go to the Layers of Beauty, and this is neat because in the die set it has, you know, the big die that cuts out the whole bouquet, but it also has a smaller one where it will just cut out a portion of it. There's also some great sprigs, and I really like that little tag as well. So the next thing I'm going to open is actually the Spotlight on Nature circle dies. I watch a lot of YouTubers, and this is something that's been fairly popular, and so I saw them use it and thought, I need to get that. And so there are 2 different sheets of circles, and they're just not plain circles because I already have, you know, some plain circles, but these have really like neat designs around the edges. And so there's 2 different ones with different sizes and different designs, and so I'm excited to create with those as well. This is an embossing folder that is like eyelet lace, and I really think it's pretty. It coordinates so well with this paper. It's the country lace paper. I stopped opening everything up because I felt like this was getting rather lengthy, but there are some great papers that when I do use them, I will make sure to like showcase the whole, you know, set. This is the Country Woods. It's also been wildly popular with people making cards and scrapbook pages. I got some more 6x6 paper to check out in fun bright colors. And then this set of paper, they actually have in like all the different color families, and so this is the designer paper that comes in the subtle colors, and it has a bunch of different designs. You get multiple sheets of you know, the designs, and then it actually repeats in the different colors. And so I'm excited to see all the different colors and to work with them. And then I was really impressed with the weight of that paper too. The last thing in my box is not super exciting, but it's the Versamark refill. And I've had Versamark, but I haven't ever seen a refill, and so I picked this up. It's actually something I picked up with my Stampin Rewards. When you spend $150, you start getting those Stampin Rewards. So here's my layout one more time. Thanks for joining me today, and have a great one.